In this tutorial, we'll create a universal wood material that you can use in most of your projects. I'm going to go from simple to complex.
My name is Nikita. On this channel, you'll find a lot of useful lessons on the topic of architectural visualization. Subscribe to don't miss new useful videos.
So, we have a scene like this. I also have a diffuse, roughness, and bump wood texture. Let's open up the slate material editor and open up the Corona frame buffer. I'll import these three textures into 3ds Max. I'll also create a Corona physical material. I'll apply the diffuse texture to the base color layer and apply all the material to our table. I'll run an interactive render. Right now, the texture looks too light to me. Let's change that. I'm going to use Corona color correction. Right button, Maps, Corona, Corona color correction. The node we need appears. To apply it to our chain, we need to left-click this node, simultaneously press the Ctrl key, and drag this node to our chain. Once the link from the chain changes color, I release the left mouse button, and our color correct node has been applied. Let's lower the brightness value. And let's give our material some shine. To do that, I'm going to select the base material and lower the roughness value to about 0.35. Okay, to make the material's sheen look more varied, let's apply our roughness texture to the roughness slot. And you can see how the wood pattern appears in the gloss zones. Let's make this pattern even more pronounced. To do that, I'll also apply Corona color correction to this chain, increase the contrast value, and also increase the brightness. And you can see how the roughness pattern has become sharper. We can reduce the impact of this texture a little bit. To do that, I'll select the material, go down to the bottom, and find the slot with this texture. Right now, its influence has a value of 100%. Let's bring that down to about 0.45. Okay, we also have a bump map, but we'll apply that a little bit later. Right now, I want to show you how to do a combined gloss of our material. We're going to work with the roughness node. To quickly organize the nodes, I select them all and press the C key. It looks much neater that way. Now I'm going to show you how to apply this fingerprint texture to our gloss. I'm going to blend this texture with the roughness texture of our wood. I'm going to import this texture into 3ds Max. Next, we're interested in a node like Composite. Right button, Maps, General, Composite. This node allows you to mix different textures with each other, and it can be done by different methods, as in Photoshop. Let me show you how it works. I'm going to leave only 2 slots. To the lowest slot, I'll apply a roughness chain with a wood pattern. I drag it to the bottom slot in instance mode. And I'll apply the new fingerprint texture to the top slot, also in instance mode. And I apply all of this composite node in base roughness. And let's open a preview of this node. Right button, open preview window, zoom in. Right now we can only see the top texture because it's blended in normal mode, so it completely overlaps the bottom texture. Let's change the blending mode. Let it be Subtract. You can test various other blending modes. This can be done quickly. You select this line and use the mouse wheel to apply different blending modes. And so you can quickly choose which one is most suitable for your case. So we're interested in the Subtract mode. You can also change the opacity. Let's see how the texture with these fingerprints will look on our table geometry. I've selected this texture and clicked on this button. You can see that right now it looks too big. Also, this texture is not seamless, and we're going to see seams like this. There is a special node in Corona Renderer that allows you to change this.
But let me not overload you with too much information just yet.
I'm going to scale this texture down a few times. I'm going to run the interactive render again, and it's looking much better now. Let's make the fingerprint texture even clearer. To do this, I'll still apply the Corona color correct node. I'm going to copy the previous node, I'll hold down Shift and I drag it with the left mouse button. And then I left click and I use the Ctrl key to move it onto this chain. And this texture has become more expressive, and right now you can already see how the fingerprints are repeated. I'm going to show you how to fix that, but in order to do that, I'm going to create a new Corona Physical MTL material to make this more visible. Copy the fingerprint texture with Shift pressed, apply it to the base color slot, and assign this material to our desk. Okay? So we can get a better understanding of how this works. We need the Corona Mapping Randomizer node. Apply this node to our chain. Here we will change the randomization mode to Mesh Element. Let's uncheck the Instance checkbox. Next, let's change the range of the turn from 0 to 360 degrees. Let's have the rotation step be 10 degrees. I'm also going to change the scaling range of our texture. Let it be from 30 degrees to about 130 degrees with a scale step of 5. Also, let's change the offset range from 0 to 200 mm on each axis with an offset step of 5 mm. And now, by toggling the seed button, you can see how this node works. I think I'll stop with this result. I want to draw your attention that you can see the work of this node only during rendering. Now let's disconnect this chain from our material. Let's move the chain to our old material and connect this chain in place of the old fingerprint texture. I'm deleting the old texture. Let's organize all the nodes. I select them and press the C key. I don't forget to apply the old material to our table. If you want, you can make the fingerprint pattern even more frequent. In the composite node, I'll add a new slot. I'll select the entire fingerprint chain. With the Shift key pressed, I'll move the chain down and apply this chain to the new slot of the composite node, Instance. Here I'll also apply Subtract mode. I'll go to the Corona Mapping Randomizer node of the new chain and I'll toggle the seed button. And you can see how the fingerprints have gotten even more varied. Let's apply the bump texture to our material. To do this, I'm going to connect this texture to the base bump slot. Right now the bump looks too strong. I'm going to select the Corona material. I'll find the bump parameter and reduce it by a factor of 10. Okay, I'm also going to suggest that I reduce the wood pattern by a factor of 2 in order to make this look neater. I select the diffuse texture of the wood. I find the tiling parameter and change the numeric value of tiling to 2 for each coordinate. The same thing needs to be done with the roughness texture and the bump texture. To make the diffuse of the wood more saturated, I increase the saturation value in the chronocolor correct parameter a bit. Also, to increase the sharpness of each of our textures, I select it, find the blur parameter, and change it to 0. This way, the texture will look clearer on the final render.
Your feedback is important to me. See you next time.